So, hi. Good day, class. Before anything else, I'd like to know if my audio is clear. Am I audible to your end?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Very
ma'am.
loud and clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
thank you. So, how's everybody's doing? What are you up to? How's your weekend so far?
I'm good, ma'am. Quite stressed because of a lot of school works, but doing good. Oh,
Ah, yes, Mark. So, I almost forgot that next week will be your midterm examination, right? If you're going to think about it, isn't it so fast? Because we only started last September and now you're going to take your midterm examination, right? So, how about you, Russell? Are you stressed too, just like James?
Yes, ma'am. I'm stressed also because I'm getting busy these days because of the midterm.
All right, it's good to hear that. Even though a lot of requirements are stressing you out lately, you still know how to handle things properly. But don't forget to rest because your mind and your body need to rest too. Don't force yourself. If you ever feel burned out, take a rest. You can continue tomorrow. So, do you understand, class?
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So before anything else, let me first lead the prayer and ask for his guidance. Please bow your head and seek his presence with me. So, Almighty God, please help my students in their upcoming exams. Help them to take it with courage and peace, to remember what they have studied and to express their answers clearly. Help me to understand everything and give me strength to supply them with sufficient knowledge that they need. Guide and direct me in all my decisions and discovering their true vocation in life, to love and serve you in our life. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So, okay, before we proceed for today's discussion, I'd like to call on Mr. Mark James. Can you recall what we have discussed last time?
Mm. Ma'am, we have discussed four basic types of speech in our last meeting, which includes informative, demonstrative, persuasive, and entertaining.
Yes, kindly choose one and kindly share your thoughts about what you've learned about it. And then after that, you can call your one of your classmates to continue to answer.
Okay, ma'am. Informative. This speech serves to provide interesting and useful information to your audience. It gives information based on facts and evidence. It's usually a kind of speech that teachers are using when supplying knowledge for the students. Uh, I would like to
You.
call Russell. Oh,
Yes, Russell, please choose another one.
Ma'am, I will choose demonstrative speeches po. So this has many similarities with an informative speech. A demonstrative speech also teaches you something. The main difference lies in including a demonstration of how to do the thing you are teaching. This one also provides the actual practice, like you are putting the knowledge you have gained into practice so that your listeners will understand easily. Um,
Oh, would you like to call on?
I would like to call on Anthony.
As Mr. Anthony Lumiares.
I will choose persuasive po. Persuasive.
Okay.
A persuasive speech works to convince people to change in some way they think the way they do something or to start doing something that they are not currently doing.
For the last one. Okay. Who would like to answer for the last one? Anyone? Yes, Marjorie? Rubio?
Yes, ma'am. For the last one, entertaining, ma'am. The after dinner speech is a typical example of an entertaining speech, ma'am. The speaker provides pleasure and enjoyment that make the audience laugh or identify with anecdotal information.
So great, thank you. It looks like we really learned from our last discussions. I can proceed for today's discussions, right? So for today's class, we're going to talk about the difference between biases and prejudices. So for the objectives, kindly read. Russell May.
Objectives: A. Define bias from prejudice. B. Determine whether a scenario is an example of a bias or a prejudice. Letter C. Compile an issue or scenario wherein biases and prejudices are commonly seen in society.
Thank you, Ms. Palpalatok. Before anything else, I want to know if you have some background or idea about bias and prejudice. How about you, Ms. Espino? What is bias? Any idea?
Um, just an idea, ma'am. I think
Yes.
bias is being unfair.
Yes, Miss Analu. That's correct. How about you, Leila? Any idea about prejudice? Oh, I think she's having an internet connection problem. Anyone? Any idea about prejudice? Uh, Russell, do you have an idea?
Ma'am, I am not familiar with that word po, but I think I already encountered it once when I'm reading a book.
Well, that's okay, Russell. You will learn it. You will learn about it eventually. Since I think some of you already have idea or background about today's topic, let's test if you really understand the difference between the two, or between the bias and prejudices. I have here set of scenarios. Then I want you to do it to read them carefully and understand. Tell me if that specific scenario will fall under bias or it will be considered as prejudice. So here's the first one, and I will be calling some of you, or you can raise your hand if you think you know the answer. Here's the first one. Kindly read and tell me your answer. Yes, Analu.
Okay, ma'am. Number one. Gino is the barangay captain of Poblacion. During the giving of financial assistance in their barangay, he gave a larger amount of money to his relatives. I think this falls under bias, ma'am.
Let's see if your answer is correct. Yes, it is. For number two, may I call on Antony Lumiares?
Yes, ma'am. Anton is a member of LGBT community and he used to wear clothes that are not for male and he receives a lot of judgment while he cross-dresses. I think it is prejudice, ma'am.
Let's check if your answer is correct. Yes. So for number three, you would like to answer. How about you, Mark James? I saw you raising your hand earlier.
Yes, ma'am. Number three, Jan is physically disabled, so people think that he is also mentally disabled. I think, ma'am, this is prejudice.
Let's see. Yes, it is prejudice. Number four, Miss Marjorie Rubio, are you there? Oh, maybe she's having internet. Leila Barbosa.
For number four, the mayor of your province decided to give the vaccine first to government officials instead of giving it to the.
Oh, she's having internet connection problem. Who would like to try number four? Sorry, Mr. Anthony.
The mayor of your province decided to give the vaccine first to government official instead of giving it to medical frontliners. I think it is bias, ma'am.
Let's see. It's sorry, Mr. Anthony Maris. It's spread. So number five. Wait, number five. Oh, I'm sorry. Item number four is bias. Maybe I put it there accidentally. It's bias. Sorry. Number five. Would like to try. Russell May.
Number 5, a group of Bajau ride a jeepney, and all the passengers in the jeepney look at them with a judgment in their eyes as if they are a thief. I think, ma'am, it is prejudice.
Let's see if your answer is correct. Yes, it's prejudice. Number six, for item number six. Yes, Miss Anna Lou.
Number 6. Daniela saw a boy holding a bouquet of flowers, then gave it to another guy. Daniela concluded the two boys are gay. This is prejudice, ma'am.
Okay, let's check if it is prejudice. Maybe this is the item. This is the answer for number four. I accidentally mixed it up. Sorry, it's prejudice. It is under sexual prejudice. I'm so sorry. So for number seven, would like to try. Yes, Miss Leila Barbosa.
Sorry, ma'am, I lost my connection earlier.
That's okay.
So for number 7, the attorney in the trial court is the father of the suspect, so he did everything to win the case although he knows that it is against the law. I might think this is bias po.
Let us see. Yes, it is. It's biased. For number eight, who would like to answer? Yes, Mr. Mark James.
Number 8. The referee received a lot of money from the losing team, so he always made sure that the other team would receive more violations. I think the answer is bias.
Let's see. Yes, it is. For number nine, is Mr. Anthony and call someone for the last item, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Gabriel received an iPhone and Android phone, but he always chose the Android phone given by his best friend. I think it is bias, ma'am.
Is it? Let's check. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
So
ma'am.
call
I
someone.
will call Marjorie.
Is Marjorie there? Marjorie, are you there?
I think it's not there.
She left the meeting po. I think she lost her. She's back na po.
Marjorie's here. Marjorie, can you
I would
answer
like to
number
try
10? I think she has problem with her internet connectivity. Yes, Layla.
Number 10. A teacher thinks that all girls are bad at math but treats all of his students the same. I might think this is
Yes, Layla. What do you think it is? Yes, Anthony.
I think it is prejudice, ma'am.
Let's see. If it yes, it is. So, wow, that's nice. I think you're getting a wider and broader idea about our today's topic. To add more, I want you to read the text that I have provided to add more context about our topic. And would like to read the first paragraph. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry for I lost my internet connection. It's fine, Marjorie. You can use our chat box. Yes. Ana Lu Espino. Kindly
Hi,
read.
ma'am. Chloe is a Muslim. Her mother and her father are both Muslim. They went to Manila to continue their studies in high school. Her parents were both unemployed at that time and they are both looking for a job. Chloe's father is 40 years old, but because of his age, many companies declined him. Because of Chloe's father's age, he couldn't find a job.
Yeah. Continue. I
Shall I continue, ma'am?
continue the first. Yes.
Okay po. So, whenever Chloe wanted to buy supplies she needed for schooling, when someone offered a price that she thought was expensive, she would choose the other store that offered a cheaper price. Chloe's classmates in Mindanao live a simple life. Unlike in Manila, where most of her classmates are easygoing and loud, she felt unfamiliar.
Thank you, Miss Analu. For the second slide, who would like to continue? Yes, Mr. Anthony Lumiares.
She found it hard to go along with her classmates, so she herself to make friends with everyone. However, it is undeniable that her sense of fashion and looks are not that attractive because they use hijab. Hence, most of her classmates never notice her. Most of the time, she wishes she could go back to Mindanao and socialize with her former classmates. She feels belonged and comfortable when sharing anything without experiencing judgment.
Thank you, Miss Anthony. Next, Miss Palpalatok, can you continue reading?
Okay, ma'am. In her school, Chloe's classmates ignored her. They even called her names like pirated DVD or terrorista because they thought those are things Muslims do for a living. Chloe is an outcast in her classroom. They believe that she is not that nice because she doesn't talk a lot. A week before Chloe transferred to her new school, new news about the bombing in Marawi popped up. One of the reasons why her classmates see her as someone terrible and not worth trusting. They even tease her and ask questions like, "Kumusta naman ang mga mala-COD na buhay sa Mindanao?" At night, Chloe often sees herself crying and asking what she did in the past to deserve that kind of treatment from her classmates.
Next slide. Would like to try Mark James. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Chloe is also very open with her sexuality. She admits to her class that her sexual orientation is pansexual, which means her sexuality is not limited to sexual choice concerning biological sex, gender, or gender identity. She believes that she can love anyone regardless of their biological gender, sexual identity, or orientation as long as the person is up to her standards. And because of that, her female classmates do not want to mingle with her. They misunderstood Chloe's sexuality and call her tomboy just because there is a possibility that Chloe will like someone of the same sex.
Yeah. So, and next slide, Layla. Can you read the next slide?
Yes, ma'am. In school, many
Okay.
classmates are not familiar that Muslims are not allowed to eat pork because they believed in their religion. When her classmate offered her food with pork, she kindly refused it, but her classmate find it weird and mocked her because of her religion and beliefs. Since her father doesn't have a job, she has always left behind in the class because she can't afford to buy things for their group activity.
Next slide. Marjorie, is your internet okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read this slide?
Okay po. Despite the unfair treatment Chloe receives, she still does the best she can to finish her study, even if some of her classmates were trying to mock her and keeps on telling her that she would not be successful because she's a girl and has no money. She uses these words as her motivation to keep going and to keep striving hard.
So that's the end of uh, the text. Do you understand the text? Because
Yes,
I will
ma'am.
be
Yes, ma'am.
asking you
Yes,
questions,
ma'am.
and here's the first one. Uh, what kind of discriminations have you seen in this scenario? Or any scenarios? Yes, Mark James.
Uh, Mom, the first one I've noticed in is when Chloe transferred to a new school in Manila.
Yes.
She immediately received unfair treatment from her classmates because of her religion is different from theirs.
See, can you imagine being Chloe in a set of a student? You're getting discriminated and ridiculed because of your religion because she's a Muslim. She's a Muslim. Actually, she can do anything about it. Don't get me wrong, children. Being a Muslim is not wrong. The only wrong here is the students was not educated enough to embrace that other religions still exist. Isn't it sad? Because even though they have proper schooling, they're still acted that way. So another one. What else? Yes, Miss Analu.
Ma'am, Chloe was called by names like pirated DVDs or terrorista by her classmates.
Why? What do you think is the reason why her classmates are calling her names like that?
Since a week before after Chloe went to Manila, uh there was a bombing news from Mindanao that popped up, and that has set to the mind of their of her classmates that um whenever they see a Muslim, they are all terrorists.
Yes, thank you, Miss Annalie. That's right. So, ignorance is another reason why discrimination is happening in our today's society. Um, what else have you noticed? Yes, Miss Leila.
I also noticed that even her sexuality is a big deal for her classmates. Her girl classmates distance themselves from her because they think being pansexual is also like being a tomboy.
See, I'm hoping that there's no existing case like this in our life because it's sad to know that society can accept someone because of their sexual orientation or their sexual identity. Or here's the second question. Are there specific scenarios that you have also experienced or relate with? How do you deal with it? Do you have any? Leila said, none po ma'am. How about others? Have you experienced
Snow po,
like
ma'am.
what close? None.
No,
So
ma'am.
thank you for responding.
None,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
That's good to know. What if you're Chloe? What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with things like that? Yes, Mr. Anthony. Sorry, Mr. Anthony. Yes,
Hello, ma'am.
Russell.
Sorry,
Hi.
I'm having internet connection. Internet connection problem.
Okay. Can you still answer
Yes,
the question?
am I clear, ma'am? Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Um, my answer about this one, ma'am. If I were Chloe, ma'am, since we are still in grade 9, I think I will seek our teachers' guidance. Because misunderstanding may happen if I'm the only one who will confront them, since I don't have any friends like what is stated in the story. And also, I'm going to clear things out about everything, and I hope I can make a bond with them, since it is so hard to stay in an environment with people who have
Yes.
problems with you, ma'am.
Yes, that's good, Anthony. But still, just like what I've said earlier, I'm badly hoping that there's no such case existing in our real life because it's so sad to know that discriminations are being normalized in our today's society, especially from from younger children. So now, since you can successfully tell what the different discriminations happened in the story, I'd like you to know the difference between bias and prejudice. Although maybe they sound alike or similar to each other, always remember that there are still distinctions between them. Yes, both have the same negative impact in society, especially for the people that sadly have to deal with it. But thus, prejudice is way more extreme than bias, and here's why. Um, can someone read what is bias? Yes, Miss Leila. What is bias?
Bias is an inclination for or against one person or group, especially in a way considered to be unfair. It is a belief that some ideas, people, etc., are better than others. When one person is biased towards a certain thing, it is difficult to make a fair judgment.
Yeah, just like what Miss if correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Miss Anna who have answered that her idea of being biased is unfair. Yes, it is. Being biased is unfair. There are two sides of being biased. The first one is the positive side, which is you are being biased towards to someone, and the other side is the negative side, which is being biased against to someone. For example, if you have good impression towards someone, and then you're being biased toward to that person, and if you have negative impression toward against someone, and then the side of being biased is in his side. Um, yes, it is hard to do a fair judgment if if someone is being biased, it's cliche, but they're always saying that judges should not be biased. Mm, Mom, and then you're gonna ask me, Mom, you told us earlier that prejudice is way more extreme than bias. Why po? Are there any positive impact of being biased? Yes, there is. Of course, there's still a positive impact of being biased, unlike prejudice. Imagine if I'm a teacher, and then one day I came to school and I saw two children fighting. One of them is my nephew. Who do you think I'm going to in favor with? Who do you think? Class.
Your nephew, ma'am.
Yes, of course, my nephew. Why? Because I personally know him. And then I'm going to his side without even further asking questions to the other kid if who started the fight. I eventually judge them unfairly because I know someone personally that is being biased towards my nephew, and I am being biased against that kid. Can you see the two different sides of being biased?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So, do you follow, guys? Any questions so far?
None
And
so
so
far,
far,
None,
ma'am.
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 Okay, thank you. So now let's talk about prejudice. Who would like to answer? Or would like to read? Yes, Miss Russell May.
It is a preconceived opinion that is not based on actual experience or reason. It is often considered to be a negative, unfair towards a person based on that person's membership in a particular social group.
Thank you. Prejudice, on the other hand, can be based on factors like religion, religion, gender, caste, and race. For example, some people may consider all Muslim women are illiterate and uneducated. Why? Because that's the way they used to think about Muslim women. And before, even though not Muslims women, they considered women are weaker than men. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
Do you agree with that, Russell? Who says yes? Layla. Is that Layla?
I'm sorry
Ma'am,
po.
I do not agree with with that
Sorry.
statement po.
Who said yes? Do you agree that girls are weaker than men? Of course not.
No, ma'am. Sorry po.
Yeah, it's actually will fall under gender prejudice because actually women can do what men can and vice versa. And we people, admit it or not, we people often have negative views about other people outside our group. Why? We tend to judge them easily because we didn't know them personally. So we tend to believe different news about them, different opinion about them, and it's our choice to embrace opinions about people. Uh, Also, guys, I want you to remember that prejudice is not something that we are born with. It is something that we adopt. We are adopting it as we grow up from our family, from the groups where we belong to, and such. It's our choice to embrace this thing. It is sadly, but yeah, admit it or not, we are judgers. Agree? Do you agree? Are there anyone here in the meeting who never judge someone? None. So
I
do you
don't
agree
think
with
so
me
po, ma'am.
that we are judgers? Do
Yes
you
po.
agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Yes, we are. No one's here. No one's here is an angel. So, do you understand their differences?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we will go back to the text we have read earlier. What I want you to do is imagine that you're one of Chloe's classmates who did something wrong to her. Choose a certain situation where they acted bad or bias or prejudice, and what if you have the chance to go back in time and change that situation? How are you going to do so? Who wants to answer first? Yes, Miss Analu.
Yes, ma'am. Um, Ma'am, the misconceptions about Chloe's culture. If I'm one of her classmates, maybe I could do research on my own so that I can educate myself and then help my classmates to get broader knowledge about Chloe's religion.
Yes, thank you, Analu. Another one. Yes, Miss Leila.
Ma'am, I'll just say that opened up to her classmates that she is a pansexual. As a grade 9 student, maybe we're not really educated enough to be open about that topic, but as her classmates, we still don't have the right to make fun of one's sexual preference. Since you told us earlier po na ignorance is one of the reasons why discrimination is happening nowadays, I could also do a research just like what Analu said earlier so that I can get more information about one's sexual identity po.
Yes, that's good, Layla and Analu. Since I think you already grasped a wider background about today's topic, now I'll be giving you the different types of biases and prejudices. Are you still with me, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Alive and awake?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes
I'm
po.
alive and awake.
Thank you. So the first type of there are 7 types of biases, and here's the first one: anchoring bias. Who wants like to read? Yes, Miss John Benevic. Yeah, Mr. John Benevic Caparas. Kindly
Number
read.
one, anchoring bias occurs when people rely too much on pre-existing information or the first information they find when making decisions.
Thank you. So, uh, here's my example. I don't take it personally. We have different preference on politics or politicians, but the common doers of anchoring bias is teenagers. They tend to believe what they first saw on the internet. For example, in Facebook, they saw news about Bongbong Marcos. Uh, they tend to believe that the first news that they saw, for example, that article contains that all the good deeds of Bongbong Marcos, he did something great in our country, he's not a robber. Uh, his being inclined in that information, that teenagers are being inclined in that information without doing further research. They tend to believe that, magaling to, boboto ko to. Sabi sa news dito kasi magaling to eh. That's too much inclining in pre-existing informations without doing deeper research about the news they have seen. And that is what you call anchoring bias. Do you understand, guys?
Yes,
Yes
ma'am.
po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. For number 2, conformity bias. Yes, Marjorie Rubio.
Conformity bias, the tendency people have to behave like those around them rather than using their own personal judgment.
Yeah. So conformity bias. For example, you're in this there's an existing group of friends, and all of them see one of their friend as a dominant one. They tend to how can I put it in word? They tend to wait for what that or they tend to wait for their friend on their opinion, like let's wait for him. Let's wait for him on what is her decision. Gayahin natin siya kasi magaling siya eh. Ganon. Like, nakuha niyo ako guys. The tendency people have to behave like those around them rather than using their own personal judgment. They tend to depend on their friend because they see him or her as a dominant friend in a group. That is conformity bias. The third one, would like to read? Yes, Mark.
Number 3, beauty bias, a social behavior that we actually have little control over. It is concerns the favorable treatment that individuals receive when they are deemed more attractive, regardless of whether this happens consciously or unconsciously.
People, admit it or not, we tend to choose who we think is more attractive than the other one, right? Even in choosing idols, K-pop idols, even in choosing your crushes, you will go more attractive than the other one, right? We are more in favor if someone is who we think is attractive because we have different preferences. Physically wise, we are more focused on people who is more attractive than the other one. That is affinity bias. People who are attractive than the other mostly receive positive treatment from other people. That is beauty bias. Number 4, affinity bias. Affinity bias, yes, Leila Barbosa.
Number 4, affinity bias. So this is the unconscious tendency to get along with others who are like us.
Yeah, we are consciously or unconsciously choosing a group of friends or a set of people who they think we would fit in. We see we can see ourselves that we would fit in that kind of group. Like, yeah, they are smart. I think I belong to them. I should be with them because I'm smart too. Without considering that other circle have the same or have their own strength, like they're good in physical performance, skills. Actually, I think it's still you're losing your chance to explore some circles because you're just being in your comfort zone, in your comfort circle. That is affinity bias. Number 5 is halo effect. What is halo effect? Yes, Miss Analu.
Halo effect. Halo effect is the positive impression of somebody that leads us to overlook their negative characteristics or treat them more favorably than others.
Halo effect. It is the other side of horn effect. We are more focused on the positive characteristic of someone, and we tend to overlook their negative. We tend to not consider the existing negative characteristic of someone, because we only choose to see the positive side of them. That is halo effect. The horn effect, on the other hand, is it is the negative impression towards someone that lead us to treat them badly. We focus on the negative characteristics of someone without considering what they have that they still have good sides. They still have positive characteristic. That is horn effect. For the last one, conformity bias. Yes, Leila?
Conformity bias is the tendency to look for information that supports rather than rejects one's perceptions or preconceptions, typically by interpreting evidence to confirm existing beliefs while rejecting or ignoring any conflicting data.
Since, for example, you already chose what side you're going to be with, and then even though his or her opinion is not, that his or her opinion is not right, you will still choose to support him. For example, the people on your side will said left-handed people are more artistic or creative than right-handed people, even though there are, and you're aware that there are existing data that will reject his opinion. You still have to look for information that supports or that will support his opinion because you're on his side. It's your choice to support his claim even though you know that it's not right. So those are the 7 basic types of biases. So prejudice, on the other hand, has 6 common types. The first one is racial prejudice. Who would like to read? Yes, Mark James.
Racial prejudice, frequently used to justify keeping a group in a subordinate position such as lower social class.
So, are you familiar with the Asian hate? Black people hate, you know?
Yes.
Are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
familiar with it?
Yes po.
Yeah, it's the common. It became the. I mean, sorry. It became trending on Twitter last time, right? Because actually, even though before the pandemic, Asian people tend to receive hate comments or unwanted physical hate. Sorry, from other races because especially today that pandemic exists, they still believe that pandemic came from China, which is really true. But still, they don't have the rights to treat Asian people badly and Black people. Commonly, white people can't accept the fact that black people are Americans too. So they tend to see their race as dominant from the other one. That is, uh, what's this? Racial prejudice. Number two, sexism prejudice. Yes, Russell.
Sexism prejudice may be defined as an ideology based on the belief that one sex is superior to another. It is discrimination, prejudice, or stereotyping based on gender and is most often expressed toward women and girls.
Just like the example earlier, they believe that Muslim women are illiterate and uneducated. They used to think that way. Before, they only see girls are for home. Girls are for household chores. Girls doesn't have the right to be in school. They don't have to be educated. I don't know their reasons, but I think they're scared to women because we women are great leaders. I don't want to sound sexist, but yeah, we can also lead. We can do what men can. Unfortunately, even in our today's society, sexism prejudice still exists. They see women as weaker than men, and I don't believe in that. I won't tolerate that kind of mindset. Do you agree, guys?
Agree po, ma'am.
How about the boys here? Do you agree with me that women and men are equal?
Yes, ma'am.
How about you, Anthony? Do you agree? Anthony, are you with us? Okay, I think he's having problem with his internet. Number 4. Yes, Marjorie.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, I'm agree.
Yeah. Okay. On number 4. Yes,
Hello,
Marjorie.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay po. Number 4, ageism. It refers to the stereotype based against an individual or a group of people because of his age.
Uh, it is commonly happened in corporate world. Deployment of older people. Employers nowadays tend to see that younger people are more capable in working on a lot of things than older people. They tend to see that older people needs to rest, or they need to rest, while younger people um, can work more than older people can. Uh, Without considering their experiences and their capability of doing such works, because older people have, how can I say this, a lot of experiences. The common case, right? So for number 5, religious prejudice, who would like to read? Yes. How about Mark James? I saw you raising your hand last time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Number 5, religious prejudice. This prejudice or discrimination is treating a person or a group differently because of the particular beliefs in the religion which they hold.
Thank you. So religious prejudice or discrimination is treating. We Is there any, other than Catholics, are there any religion here? No one. Are you all Catholics here? Yes, Russell.
I am
You're
INC po.
okay. So, um, let's say that the some religions are see themselves as dominant religion. They tend to say that the religion exists in Bible is there. So they tend to discriminate other people outside their religion. But actually, it's commonly happened in Muslim people. I don't know why Muslims are receiving so much hate while they are so pretty. Muslims are created beautifully. Have you seen Muslims? They're so pretty. They have pointed nose, beautiful eyes. I don't know why. They
Long
tend to be,
lashes.
you know, they're so blessed. I don't know why people are discriminating them. Are they insecure or what? I don't know. Don't get the reasons. They are beautiful people. So, number 6, classism. Who would like to read? Yes, Miss Analu.
Okay, ma'am. Classism. This prejudice is based on social class or grouping or individuals based on their social class.
I'll give you a precise example. Let's say in a mall setting. Have you seen a sales lady? Of course, sales ladies' work is to follow customers, ask them for what they need. But I personally noticed this happen when I'm in Robinson's Place Malolos. Yeah, I'm going to name drop because yeah, I experienced it firsthand. Um, one of the sales ladies there, okay, one of the customers wearing proper T-shirt with branded T-shirt, branded short, branded shoes, and then sales ladies talk like, "Hi, good morning, sir. Ano pong kailangan nila? Eto po. Titignan ko lang po kung may size pa, ah." I get it. They talk to them politely, respectfully. They talk to them with respect. Well, on the other hand, I saw one of the sales lady there talking with one of the customer wearing sando, basic short, basic sleepers, like parang pambahay. Though I know they still use Oppo and Oppo. Like, ano pong kailangan? Eto po, saglit lang titignan ko po. I noticed the difference between the tone that sales lady used. And I don't know why people, sorry, I don't know why people tend to be like that. Like, money can buy them. Money can buy how they treat on people. It's sad. I don't see people. I'm not accepting those kind of people in my circle. I don't like that kind of attitude. So, do you have any questions or clarifications about this?
None po,
And
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, Mr.
None,
Anthony
ma'am.
Lumiares, are you raising your hand?
Sorry, ma'am. Natin.
Sorry. So, um, now that you already know the different types of biases and prejudices, we will be having set of activities so that we can determine if you really understand or learn something from what I've said. I've said a lot. Sorry, it took me so long. I hope you get something from me. So, but before anything else, I'd like to call on Miss Leila Barbosa. Can you please tell us your own observation about our topic or the difference between the two?
Yes po, ma'am. So, although biases and prejudices sometimes seem the same, there are still great differences between them. So, because bias is milder than prejudices, prejudices are also more on the discrimination and such, while biases can be biased towards two and bias against two something. But both of them have the same negative effect on society.
Oh, that's great, Leila. You're really with me, and I think you really learned something from our lesson. You are already with our activity today, right? Right, people?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
That's great. So let's now proceed. For activity one, the title is Arrange Me. Instruction: arrange the jumbled letters in the boxes and then share your thoughts about the picture above. So here's the first item. First item. Yeah. Yeah. The first one. There's an answer. Sorry, I forgot to erase that one. It's racial prejudice. Ha. Marjorie, what is your thought about racial prejudice?
Ma'am, it talks about the discrimination happening between different races. Just like what you have said earlier, the most common victims of racial prejudice are mostly Black and Asian people, ma'am.
Yes, that's right. How about number two? Here's the item number two. Number two, yes, Mr. Anthony Lumiares.
I think, based on the picture also, your beauty of prejudice, I think it is beauty bias.
Let's see. Is it? Yes, it is. What's your thoughts about beauty bias?
My thoughts about beauty bias is it is like a situation when people choose to be in favor of who they think is more attractive physically.
Yes, it is. Thank you. You really learned something from me. Number three, Anthony again. Yes, Russell May.
Ma'am, it is affinity bias.
Is it? Yes. Share your thoughts and ideas.
Um, I think, ma'am, it happens when person chooses to be in a circle who he thinks is like him. Po.
Yes, that's exactly the point. Number four, may I call on Miss Analu? Are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, number four.
Number four, um, conformity bias, ma'am.
Yes, it is. Let me see the answer. Yeah.
Um, this is when
How
a
about
person
your
looks
thoughts
for
about?
Yes, ma'am. This is when a person looks for evidence to support the existing belief of the person who's in favor with.
Yes, Miss Analu, thank you for your idea. Number five, the last item. Yes. How about Mark James? I want to hear your thoughts about this last item.
Okay, ma'am. I think the answer is religious prejudice.
Is it? Yes, it is. Your thoughts about religious prejudice? What have you learned?
Religious prejudice is when a person is receiving bad treatments just because he or she belongs to another religion.
Yes, thank you, Mark James. Thank you for all your answers. All right, you all did a great job. Can you answer another activities,
Yes,
or should
ma'am.
I give it as your
Yes,
homework?
ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, you're still
ma'am.
with me. So I'm happy
Yes.
that you remember everything.
It's
For our
up to
last,
you, ma'am.
thank you, Marjorie. You're so lively, ah. For our last activity, I prepared a simple 10-item true or false test. Don't worry, it'll just be easy if you really listened earlier. So here's the instruction. Read each item carefully and tell me whether the statement is true or false. If it is false, tell us the word that made the statement incorrect. The first one. Would like to try the first one. Yes, Marjorie, since you're so lively, I love your energy.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Number one, bias and prejudice are very similar to each other. Both have the same negative impact to society and to people who receive such. Ma'am, my answer is true po.
Is it true? Yes, it is. For the next item, would like to try. Yes, Mr. Mark James.
Number two, anchoring bias occurs when people rely too much on pre-existing information or the first information they find when making decisions. Ma'am, I think the answer is true.
Is it true? Yes, it is true. For number three, yes, Miss Palpalatok.
Number three, confirmation bias. The tendency people have to behave like those around them rather than using their own personal judgment. My answer is false, ma'am. The confirmation word
Yeah,
is wrong. It
confirmation.
is confirmative.
Yeah, it's conformity. For number 4, yes, Miss Layla.
Number 4, the horn effect is the positive impression of somebody that leads us to overlook their negative characteristics or treat them more favorably than others. I think the answer po is false, and the wrong word is horn.
Yeah, that is halo effect. So for number 5, yes, another hand. Marjorie again. Layla again.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, Marjorie. So go. Read and tell me your answer.
Number 5. Bias is an opinion against a group of or individual that is based on insufficient facts that is usually unfavorable and intolerant. Ma'am, I think this is false and because of the word bias.
What do you think is the proper word for this?
Mm, Ma'am, I'm sorry, but
It should be
I...
prejudice.
Okay,
So,
ma'am. I'm sorry po.
yeah, you're so lively. I love your energy talaga. For number 6, how about number 6? Yes, Mark James.
Number 6. Sexual prejudice is all negative attitudes based on sexual orientation, whether the target is homosexual, bisexual, or heterosexual. I think this is true.
Is this? Yeah, it is. For number 7, how about number 7, Miss Analu? I'd like to hear your voice.
Okay, ma'am. Number 7, classism prejudice is based on social class or grouping of individuals based on their social class. The answer, ma'am, is true.
Yeah, it's true. For number 8, how about number 8? Would like to answer. Anthony, how about you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, guys. How about you, Anthony?
Yes, ma'am. For number 8, religious prejudice refers.
Okay, I think he's having problem with his internet connectivity. How about the other?
Um,
Yes, Leila.
Number 8, religious prejudice refers to the stereotype based against an individual or a group of people because of his age. I think the answer po is it's false po. The wrong word is religious po.
Yes, thank you. That's right. For number 9, how about number 9? Yes, Anthony. I lost you earlier.
Sexism prejudice may be defined as an ideology based on the belief that one sex is equal to another. Number, uh,
Number 9, what is your answer, Anthony?
can you back the question please?
The answer is, you already saw the answer. The answer is false. Oh, just tell me what. Okay, the answer is false. The wrong word is equal. Sorry, Mr. Anthony Lumiares. You can answer the last item.
Racial prejudice is frequently used to justify keeping a group in a subordinate position, such as a lower social class. I think it is true, ma'am. Ma'am, true po.
Yes, it is true. Um, do you have any questions or any clarification so far?
None, ma'am.
So,
None, ma'am.
mm-hmm. Good job. Don't worry, all of your participation will be recorded. It will be a great help to your grade. Before we end this meeting, may I request everyone to turn on your camera because this will serve as your attendance. Can I see your beautiful faces? Guys, are you with me? Yeah. How about the other? Can you turn on your camera? Yeah. How about Anthony, Mark, Analu? Okay, I think they can open their camera. Anthony, how about you? Hey, smile. Anthony, can you open your camera? Another one. I haven't taken a photo yet. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. So, before I end this meeting, I'll be sending your assignments or your homework in our group chat. Maybe later today or tomorrow morning, okay?
Yes
Copy,
po,
ma'am.
ma'am.
That's all for today. Thank you for participating. Thank you next meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Ma'am.
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you
Bye
po.
po.
Thank you.
Yun na.
Bye.
Bye, ma.